Well, it's cold out there, and your Chiefs got frozen in Denver. It didn't take snow. It didn't take anything but maybe a flu bug to set it off, but it certainly went downhill from there. We are live post-game for you here on RGR. Thanks for making it. Make sure you like and sub and hit the bell. For anybody who's new to us, please join the channel, hit that sub, because we do this every post-game, and we do this on Monday nights for the Q&As and the whole 9 yards, because there are a lot of questions tonight. This team arrived in Denver and seemed like it was going to be all right. And then everything started to fall apart slowly but surely. And it ended it up in what was, I feel, a pretty embarrassing loss. Certainly the brevity that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes spoke with after the ball game says that they agree with me. I'm going to start off by saying welcome to RGR Football. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy, and this is what we do, talking your Chiefs and the NFL. And I'm just going to start tonight with Mescler from Fremont, and I'm gonna start pouring.
Yeah, go for it. I am opening this for a similar reason, because this was going to be my treat to myself tonight, but this is now how I'm going to take it into the night. I found this earlier today. It's a cinnamon bun ale from Boulevard. It's fantastic, and I've never had it before. It's 9.5% alcohol, and we are just going to
cracker. Yes. Folks, if you haven't seen the Craft channel, you can find a review of this. This is a porter and stout blend aged on bourbon barrels from one of my favorite breweries, Fremont, up in Seattle. You can find that. We appreciate you checking it out. And Thundarius, I just want to start with your latest comment there, because Dan could suit up for this team. He would be a tight end, though. It's not a wide receiver body you're looking at there, folks. And while I look more like Creed.
Yeah. Look, guys. Yeah, I'm about 6'4.5", 6'5". I'm not the athlete I once was. Okay, we're talking about I need a good month of consistent stretching, and I'll give you some slant routes. Okay, I have good hands, but you're not getting me downfield. I'm not running anything over 5 yards. Okay, just throw it high. I'll try to get through contact.
Oh, it's a rough one. And Callie, I know you had a long trip, my friend. I am sorry you got to see that as a result of it. Let me know where you're going. I might just venture out in the cold tonight. So yeah, if you wanted to hook up with other Chiefs fans here in town, let us know, Callie. I'm glad you're here.
This, guys.
Yeah.
If you can find this is delicious. Okay. This is fantastic. And it doesn't taste close to 9.5% alcohol. So by the time you're done with it, you might not remember how many you had.
Yeah, well, be careful there. Over on the Craft channel, we go through things like this all the time. This is espresso. I hope that you dig it. If you guys want to join that, feel free. We have content coming out there every now and then. Not as often as we are here, because we talk Chiefs. And Callie, thanks for your support. And yeah, let me know. Shoot me a text or a email if nothing else. We're going to go through your questions. We're going to do what we normally do on a post game and go through our notes, our big takeaways. And I just want to give you guys just kind of a flash screening of mine, if I can share my screen here real quick, Dan. This is probably the thing that I do post game the most, when people are like, so how'd the ball game go? And I tell them, well, there was a lot more red than there was green. And that's kind of the way that my notes go. For those of you that are in the memberships, you get to view my notes and review them yourselves. I'm happy to take comments on those too. When you get the community post that they're up with it, which has the link in it, go ahead and put your comments on what you see as takeaways as well. If you do want to get on that, you can join the memberships down on the other side of the screen, the little join button there. My big takeaways, and it's funny that we're going to get to the main one here. And it's funny that Terry's first question was, we have to get a wide receiver one before Tuesday. And that's an interesting part there, because I felt one of my big takeaways that Hardman went from hero last week to villain here in about the blink of an eye. And it comes back to the bigger realization that, yes, it's good to have a lot of deep talent. It's good to have 7 deep. But Dan, I think you hinted at it during the ball game. In fact, Matt Derrick gave you credit for this. Tell us the concept. It's an old axiom in football.
Yeah, so you guys have heard typically it's used in quarterbacks. If a team feels like they have 2 quarterbacks, they don't have any. Guess what? The Chiefs are running 6 wide receivers out there for not like maybe 30% of the game. You don't have a wide receiver. Like, you don't have one. You don't let any of your receivers get in a game, get comfortable. There's a reason that we talk about like jump shooters. They need to get a few of them in there to get comfortable, to get going in basketball. In the NFL, we sometimes talk about how getting the quarterback some quick snaps, a young quarterback, get out there, throw the ball quick to get them comfortable. If you're out there running 7 wide receivers throughout a game from start to finish, who has an opportunity to get comfortable? Nobody. If you have 6 wide receivers or 7 wide receivers in this case, you have none, in my opinion. And yes, I have been, and I still will to an extent, be a Sky Moore and talent defender for this team. But right now, they have a problem. There's a disconnect with whatever Sky's doing and what Mahomes wants. And a lot of these receivers, today he was clutching the ball quite a bit. I don't know what was going on there. We can always talk about a perfect storm. This was a perfect storm football game. Make no mistake about it. You can't turn the ball over 5 times in an NFL game and win. You can't do it. No. You can't play with a cloudy head and while you have the flu. I mean, I know that Michael Jordan became famous because of his flu game. They're not always like that. Most of them are not like that. And it looked like he was cloudy out there. And the wide receivers right now aren't doing enough collectively. Travis Kelce had 100+ yards last week and the week before in the first half of football games. What happens if you take him away? We talked about this actually on Friday about, well, what happens now? Because teams are going to take advantage, or going to take them away. They have to. This is what happens. But also, lots of other things happen. So wide receivers at problem. There's lots of different things. Sky Moore said that he lost the ball in the air. It happens sometimes. That's, in my opinion, it's unfortunate. But also, no more excuses. We're not given any more excuses about this. You are open in the end zone. You got to make that play. There's just that's what it is. This is the NFL. Okay, you gotta make that
what you get paid for. Yeah, you are a professional, and I will give him credit because the lights in Mile High or whatever it's called today, they are a little bit higher than the average. They're a little bit higher than they are in Arrowhead. Okay, fine, but like you said, this is your job. You've been in this long enough. You should have adjusted that. You've played in this stadium before, so it's not new. And I agree with you. As far as my takeaways, those are all certainly in there. Like you said, you cannot turn the ball over to 5 times to a high school team and win. That just doesn't happen. So controlling that, you can make the arguments for the interceptions on Mahomes. Fine. They still shouldn't happen. You can't say just because it was a throwaway at the end of the game and he was trying to make a point and the rush was in his face. And I do think the O-line was a bigger problem than most people seem to have been reacting. We'll go through the takeaways here coming up. But it just comes down to this. My number one takeaway was that Mahomes wasn't able, for whatever the reason was, the pressure, the flu, whatever it was, he wasn't able to make the plays. He was not looking like himself from the get-go. The fact that Nick Bonito, a guy who's been a backup until recently, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, they came out with a chip on their shoulder, and he was the antithesis of it, and Patrick barely clapped back at him. Like, you could tell, like, I'm just not in the mood for your shit today, is basically his reaction, because he didn't have anything for him. They come up and slapped him in the first drive, and there wasn't a reaction. And that was the problem. That was the tone that was set, and the reaction that didn't happen also set that tone. And I think that's really what it came back to at the bottom of the end of the day, bottom of the line, whatever you want to call it.
You want to know how we should have known this was going to be happening? If a team wants to make a point, the Broncos came out and they established a point. They were going to be in their face all day. Okay. One, there was no clapback on that really. And then in short yardage in the red zone, guess what the Chiefs do? They get cute. They don't want to get physical. They want to play finesse. That's what this was. This game was a lot. We can out finesse the Denver Broncos. And this was not, we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, maybe get into 13 personnel or even regular old 11 personnel and 12 personnel and run the ball on 3rd and short and 4th and short. They decided not to do any of that, run away from the run game, period. It was non-existent in this football game against the 30th ranked rush defense, or one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. And they said, we're going to play finesse football. Finesse. That's what this game was. They finessed themselves with that strategy. That's a poor way to play football in a cold weather game when you are unprepared for the cold. And Patrick Mahomes has got the flu.
Yeah. You were not wrong in any way, shape, or form. And I wanted to highlight you while you were doing that. because you don't need to see my face when Dan's making his point, because I agree with him completely. And this is what it comes down to. Yes, it took a little bit of grind, and he got the one big play. But if you gave Pacheco 8 carries, he got you a 5-yard average, and you didn't give him any more. Yes, he needed the big play to work out the average and all that kind of. That's how you feed him. We've talked about 16 touches for him on the ground has been the magic number so far this season. On a week that you already know your quarterback's not feeling well. You already know that your wide receivers are searching for a leader amongst themselves. It's already cold, and you decide not to go run the ball. That is a coach's decision, and that is a coach's problem. Yeah. I don't care about the jet sweeps. I don't care about the pop passes. You didn't need any of that crap. Run the damn ball. You were doing it well enough to win the ball game.
Another 3rd and 2 swing pass to McKinnon. And what are we doing throwing the ball behind line of scrimmage on 3rd and 2? It's cute. It's finesse. This team, honestly, I'll speak. Yes, if this is going to be a little bit of an overreaction, I'll be very honest with you. It is, because the Chiefs, and I'm going to preface this by saying they're 6-2, and they're going to be just fine at the end of this. They went through this last year too. They're 6-2. They're going to figure it out. I completely lost my train of thought. I'm so
tell them about the run, the fact that they didn't use it.
Yeah, I mean, when you come out here and you're running these plays to the outside, it's like you don't believe in your own game plan. It's I put myself up here and prefaced the whole thing and then just did not. I completely lost my train of thought, guys. That's how PO'd I am.
Yeah, right. And that's okay.
It'll come to me, I'm sure.
It will. It'll pop back in there. I see a lot of people complaining about the receivers, and honestly, some of this is on the receivers. Is it all on them? No, I don't believe that it is, but some of it is. But it's not just the players either, because the staff is responsible for this. And I don't care if you get caught up in your play call on game day or what. When you know that you already have deficits in the passing game because of the quarterback, because of the protection, and because of the weather, and you choose not to run the ball because you're stubborn, that's on Andy Reid and everyone who reports to him. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you said it the way it is. Like these, sometimes when you're playing games like this, you have to be prepared to actually maybe change a little bit of what you thought. You come out, okay, that didn't work out. And some of our game plan stuff has not worked in the past. They did the same stuff that they did in the first game against Denver. They got cute in the red zone. Didn't work out again. Like what has to happen for the coaching decisions to decide that maybe we need to do something else? Maybe we got to try something different instead of just, saying, hey, there's a really nice looking wall over there. Maybe I'm just going to run into it 10 times and maybe I'll break through it. Yeah. Does you think that works?
You never know. Ask my wife. That's the way that I got there. I had to break down her walls too. Sometimes it's worth it.
Sometimes it works.
But Brandon, this goes to your point. Brandon, this goes to your point as well. They were stubborn in that they wanted to throw the ball. They didn't want to run the ball. They chose not to do that. They chose to take the receivers off the field fairly often. I won't say every play, but fairly often, because they're looking for somebody to do something. They're looking to change it up, especially when the guy that you feel is your next wide receiver one in the making, right? And even he's dropping the ball, which he hasn't done in 4 weeks?
Yeah.
And Rashee Rice is dropping the ball out there. You're cycling through this pool of talent you have because you don't have a number one, because you don't have a guy that you can say, if Trav's covered, we're going to you and you're going to make this first down, or you're going to make this chunk play, or you're going to do what we need you to do, because they don't have that guy.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I'm with you. And just want a quick shout out here to a Broncos fan. Appreciate you being in here. Yeah. This was always coming. I'll be honest. Like, this game eventually was coming, where they were going to lose to the Broncos. It was coming eventually. Nobody thought it was going to be today, including the Kansas City Chiefs. Not one person came into this game, because we spoke about it on Friday about how they had to have this bulletin board material from last year. If you don't take teams seriously in the NFL, they will come and get you. Almost lost to the New York Jets when you didn't take them seriously, and you just lost to the Denver Broncos. No offense, Gerald.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming here and being a good sport about it, because they took advantage of every single opportunity they had, and they shoved the football down the defense's throat. They said, we know one thing that we're going to do. We're going to control the damn game. And that's exactly what they did. And the Chiefs were on the Chiefs defense was on the field for 90% of this football game.
Ooh,
so hats off. Hats off to them for executing that game plan.
We're going to look at those snaps. And I'm glad you found that. Jarrell, thank you. And I want to say Jarrell because I'm in a Superman mood. So like kudos to his dad. There were about 82 people by my count that believed that this was going to happen. The 70 players that practiced for the Broncos this week and the 12 coaches, and that's it. That was the world that believed this was going to happen. So kudos to the Broncos for showing up, showing out, and making sure that their presence was felt. I still felt the Chiefs were going to win this ball game right up until mid-fourth quarter because as much as there was aggression and I felt that was good, and it was really good contest, I still felt like it was a battle that was winnable. In the end, they persevered as well. And so you have to give credit to the Broncos for showing up when nobody outside of their building thought that this could happen. So I'm glad you guys are here, and I appreciate you being a decent person and a good fan all the way around.
Appreciate you.
Glad you came in. Dirty, thanks for shouting this out earlier too. Folks, we always kind of flip-flop depending on whether the game is at home or away, depending on who goes first, Lockdown Chiefs or RGR. So appreciate you, Dirty, and shouting that out. And Mike, from a Husker fan, rock chalk back to you, pal. I know everybody likes it when Sooners go boom on themselves. So, hey, that's always a good thing. I will take it. And I'm a little bit happy tonight for everyone in Lawrence. Knicks fan, thank you, buddy. Good to see you. They never looked to have anything going from the beginning, and the whole team looked uninterested. And that's kind of how I felt too. I hate to say it. This trap game got them. Yeah. I think they were partially thinking about Miami. I think – oh shit, Patrick, and I'm sorry to cuss, folks. Not my normal thing, and now it's slipping out. Patrick gets sick last night, and I'm sure the pucker effect was spreading through that team like a virus. And unfortunately, I think that showed up on the field today. The weather had cleared. It was cold. I'll give you that. There was no snow on the ground. They had the grounds good. The field was in good shape. That's a tough field when it's cold. I've been on it, and it's difficult. But there was no reason physically out there that they couldn't have played this game. This was a mental collapse on their part, and they did not respond to the Broncos' aggression. That's just the bottom line.
And sometimes when you're playing these games and you're 6-1 and you're feeling like, yeah, we're gonna go into Denver, we're gonna beat them, and then go fly out to Germany here and take on the Miami Dolphins. Sometimes you need games like this. And we talked, I think this was something we made a point last year too. When you have to make points like this, if you're going to come out of this game with something, it's got to be, look, we need to be more aggressive, physical. This game, again, I'm going to come back to it again. They were not very physical on offense in this game. They did not want any part of the Denver Broncos physicality. They didn't. And it showed up in the pass protection, showed up in the run blocking for the majority of this football game, that whenever there was a little bit of it, and it showed up when things got tough.
Yeah.
It did not look like this team wanted anything to do with fighting back.
Yeah.
And there at the end, it was like, okay, there's a little bit of fight there, a little bit that was led by Patrick Mahomes, maybe because he got some adrenaline, but at that touchdown that should have been caught kind of just deflated everything. And I thought right there, if they get that 4th and 2, but that's also a decision that we can talk about.
Yeah.
4th and 2, you throw the ball into the end zone. Okay. They don't.
You just need to get the first down. That's what I'm screaming at my television, right?
Exactly. They don't have the confidence in short yardage to run the football or to get open in the short yardage, because that's exactly what the Broncos were doing. They were coming up and saying, we know that you can't get open quick. And we know that your offensive line, for whatever reason, in this game didn't really feel like showing up. And they took it to them in the second half of this football game.
This is exactly what I said on the very first drive. Check up for no gain. The screen got snuffed out. And on third, no one got open. It was the tail all day long. And that's the problem. Jake, Callie, I do see your super chats. We're going to get to them here in a minute. We're about 20 minutes in, trying to do all the review notes, and then we're going to get to all your super chats. We appreciate you guys hanging in, and thank you for all the support. Ryan, why doesn't Clark Hunt have the guts to take Andy to task over these ridiculous Denver games? This didn't just happen. It's been brewing for years, and I'm angry. I get why you're angry, and I will tell you this. The reason that's never going to happen is because Clark Hunt is a businessman. He is not a football guy. He does not know X's and O's. He has grown up in this organization. He knows how to run it. He knows what it's worth. He understands football, but he cannot go to Andy and say, you got to do this, this, and this to get these guys ready, because that's just not what Clark Hunt does. And honestly, if he did, he'd be Jerry Jones, and this team would not be better for it.
Please. Owners don't know anything about football. Be very honest. 90% of them, even Jerry Jones, who talks a big game, knows really nothing about football, for being very honest. He knows nothing. Their team hasn't won anything in decades. And here he is talking about stuff that he can do. He doesn't know football, okay? If you have an owner meddling around in your day-to-day operations and decision-making process, you have a problem. You don't have a winning football team.
Until Tom Brady buys a franchise, which I do think is coming in the future, by the way, there will not be an owner that can actually do the work to prepare a football game to be played. That's why. But I get why you're angry, Ryan. And honestly, I'm really frustrated too, because my number one thing is, if you didn't have the talent to compete at this level, you should lose, and that's fine. It's always work in progress, right? But it's when you have this talent level and you have this coaching level where you shouldn't be losing these games. That's what drives me absolutely insane. And I don't care whether it's coaching Pee-wee football or it's up to the pros. Like, it drives me absolutely nuts.
Do you want to know the worst thing? I'm the number one thing that I am mad about. The worst thing, the 12 men in the huddle twice.
Oh, right.
Twice.
I mean,
okay. No, this is inexcusable coaching mistakes. You guys can have one job when the play's over. Communicate, get the right people on the field. Twice they could not do it. Yep. They were not. They weren't prepared. Their heads were not in this football game at all. That's the tell.
Exactly, and that's why the run game proportion gets away from them. They get stuck in a rut because their minds have been on other things. I think they spent half of this week thinking about Miami. Is that's what I'm convinced of the staff, not the players so much, but I do think the staff. I'm not Knicks fan. I wouldn't put this one on the receivers. You said I won't put it all on them, but I think they played a part for sure.
Yeah, like again, there's a large part to a whole here. Everybody contributed in some way to lose this football game, and the wide receivers played their large role. Patrick Mahomes played his. Let's be honest. We can't leave Patrick without fault here. He had a bad game while he was sick, and maybe something changes if they just say Patrick can't play today. His mental game's not there. He's not sharp as he should be. And they come out with a little bit of a different stance, like they have to establish the run to win this football game. Maybe that would change it, just because Blaine Gabbert's not going to win the game on his arm. I don't know. That's not my, I'm not a psychologist. I can't tell you what would change their dynamic. All I know is that they came into this game down Patrick Mahomes. They did. They didn't have him today. He wasn't out there. Regardless, if you're going to come out and play, you also have to take some responsibility of what happens on the field. Some decision-making wasn't there, and double clutching the football multiple times is also on you. Ball sometimes has to come out, even if it's going to be incomplete. Took too many sacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the ball out of your hand. That's your job. And I'll put it this way. I said this to some of the folks that were here at my place watching the game. They had Patrick today. They didn't have Magic Mahomes. That was the difference. This was pedestrian average Patrick on a day when he feels like crap.
I'm going to go ahead and head this off. I have zero problems with him going to the World Series game. None. Okay.
Oh,
so if you want to say that he's the reason he's sick and not in there is because he was taking a load off on a night off and going to the World Series, sorry, miss me with that. I got no problems with them going there. They do this every single year. Every year. They're at different games. They're in the media for different reasons. This is also their job. He goes to Texas Tech.
They do the whole night. Yes.
He goes to Texas Tech.
The only thing that I would caution against is in season. Like, I wouldn't be around a whole bunch of people that you're not around every day. That's just
correct. Like,
exactly.
They talked about his kids and his wife got the flu. Okay.
Right.
This is flu season, y'all. And guess what happens when temperatures drop 20 degrees in one day when you're not expecting it? Kids get sick. Parents get sick because of it. All right. This was a fluke thing. That's what it was. Period.
And for those, we might as well address this now too, because I've already had people ask me on Twitter, and I haven't seen it in the chat. But no, I don't think there's any truth to whether Taylor Swift is present or not. Maybe Travis gets a little bit of lift out of it. That's about it. You know, a little bit of spark because your sweetie's in the house. Okay, whatever. If y'all are watching Shorzy, you know how that works. And if you're not watching Shorzy, you're doing life wrong. So go watch Shorzy.
Travis Kelce destroys the Chargers last week, whether Taylor's there or not, because they left him open. They didn't guard him. It wasn't because Taylor Swift was there and made some magic. No, it's because the Chargers said, hey, we're going to let the best tight end in the NFL open in the middle of the field. That's what they did.
Just because we don't respect them. Okay.
We're getting a full-fledged rant this week, y'all.
Yeah.
Good. Member section. We are getting a full-fledged rant. We're going off.
I'm ready because I feel like I've been the only one ranting lately, and I starting to feel like I'm living in my head. So that's good to know. Nick, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. Lots of thoughts today, especially about a rookie DT that will not be named. Hopefully we can rebound off of this. Definitely felt like a trap game. It certainly was a trap game. And and Coburn's tweeting after the game, hey, you know, two happy things happened this weekend. Texas Longhorns won, and now the Denver Broncos won. So it's not just a little bit, hey, we plucked him, and he's not really happy to be here. He still wants to be, like, he's pissed.
He's pretty
So there was something going on, and I'm pissed now. It makes me even more angry about the whole thing. So
I'm going to be very honest. Sean Payton may have just saved his locker room.
Mm-hmm.
May have just. They have now won 2 games going into a bye week. And what they just did was break the streak. Sean Payton gets there in year 1. Yeah, they lost earlier in the season. They gave him a fight, and then they won. Then they beat the Denver Broncos. Okay? What that does is that gives the entire organization feeling and the ability that Sean Payton is going to get this right. Okay? Yes. Again, I believe this game was always coming. They were going to lose to the Broncos at some point. Shouldn't have been this year. Shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And you overlooked them.
History will tell you eventually everybody gets right. It's going to happen. There's parity in this league for a reason. But yeah, it's having these losses when you shouldn't, when you are overwhelmingly the more talented team.
There are good positive things about this game that we will get to. I promise that I have some good positive notes in here, guys. I promise. I promise.
I have 3 of them as well. So Kurt, Andy Reid's play calling was horrible today. No quick passes, just straight drop backs without running the ball, and doesn't matter if you're going to fumble the ball away. And you're absolutely right, Kurt. The quick game could have been there. I didn't see a slant run all day long. I am very disappointed about the fact that what the Broncos did on that touchdown to Judy was run a slant that he turned into an over because he had the leverage. The Chiefs didn't try that at all day long. And let's be honest, the Broncos front on the defensive side was fired up. The offensive tackles in particular did not respond, in my opinion. They were getting backed up left and right all day long, and that was a problem for Mahomes. When you know he's already down, you got to do something better than that. So I agree with you. It was not good. But between that and the run game, you can put this on the coaching staff, as we said, and we appreciate your comment, and I agree with you. Kemper, turning it to the positive side in the future, what wide receivers the Chiefs trade for? A guy who wears number 10 kind of showed up today, dreads and all, for Tennessee Titans. He's trying to say, somebody come save me.
Miss me with it. Okay. DeAndre Hopkins is not the savior, guys. DeAndre Hopkins needs the deep ball and offensive pass interference to get open. What are 2 things in common, or what's one thing that the Chiefs need right now is guys that get open quickly? DeAndre Hopkins does not do that. Does not do it. He's not saving this offense. So no DeAndre Hopkins. Period. End of story. No more. We're done with it.
If he's cheap and they'll pay for his salary, I'll take it. Only because I think even after today, I think he would draw coverage, or at least he wouldn't be able to perform as a number 1, but I think he could draw coverage as a 1, and maybe that helps everybody else out. That's my only thought. But Titans got to pay salary.
There's anybody else that they're trading for. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else you can trade for, honestly. I really don't.
Agreed. AJ ran out there, although as much as I would like that. Quentin, thank you again for 24 months solid. Appreciate you, buddy. Give me one reason to have hope, he asks. This team makes me fearful of the playoffs. Our O-line got bullied and our D got run all over. Please give me some hope. I will tell you this. Getting run all over did not lose them this ballgame. The defense did not lose them this ballgame.
No,
I know they gave up 24 points, which is more than they have.
Got a stat for you.
Oh, show
Chiefs
me.
defense yielded 3.69 yards per play versus the Broncos. And the team is 71, 26, and 2 when they give up fewer than 3.7 yards per play. The defense did not lose this football game, okay? They absolutely didn't. Turning the ball over 5 times lost them this football game, not the defense. But please continue.
Agreed. No, I'm 100% with you, and thank you for saying that, because that's about where I was going to. Yes, they gave up more passing yards that you might, but the run did not hurt them. If they had run and they had broken large chunks, or they had broken 40-yard touchdowns in the run, then I would agree with you, because those are the backbreakers that hurt. And because the Broncos did to the Chiefs what I always want the Chiefs to do to the other team, and that they broke them physically by grinding them down. They ran, what did Devontae Williams have? 3.7 per carry? No, 3.1. I'm sorry. It was even worse than I thought.
It wasn't
Let me
great.
get this back up here. No, it was dog stuff. 3.1 yards a carry. The Chiefs defense had to take 27 rushes from him down their throats, and they responded. They did a good enough job. Is that as much as you want? No, I'd love it to be 2 yards a carry, but it's not. Consequently, Pacheco ran for 5.0. Even Clyde got 4 on his carry. So in the end of the day, if the Chiefs had done what the Broncos had done and given Pacheco, say, double the carries, this game is a win, in my opinion, because I don't think you turn the ball over as much, and I don't think you wear out the defense as much.
Let's also not forget Willie Gay didn't play most of the second half of this game with the tailbone injury. They're playing Leo Chanel and Jack Cochran a lot of this football game. They don't have, and they had a little bit of Drew Tranquil being hurt at times in this game. 3 starting linebackers. Nick Bolton was not there in the run game, and they still did a great job in the run defense, in my opinion.
There were 2 plays where the Broncos got a total of 4 yards. That it was Leo Chanel, Jack Cochran, and Cam Jones, who hasn't played defense all season. He's just a special teamer, and those were their base 3 linebackers. It's crazy that the defense can respond. And I'm a little fired up because of the loss, but I'm actually really happy to say that the defense can hold its own. The defense didn't cost in this game.
Let's talk some positivity right now, because this is what we need right now. The defense, okay, guys. George Karlaftis is coming. He's coming into his own right before our eyes. Now, the majority of them were workman's sacks, because Russell Wilson had time. But this was a very carefully crafted play action pass sequence from the Denver Broncos. They wanted to run the football and then allow them to have the play action game built off of it. And they did a very good job of grinding them down to do that. But George Karlaftis, 3 sacks today, correct? If I'm wrong?
2.5 officially, but yes.
2.5, and then a forced fumble, a strip sack. That is legitimately awesome. And he was everywhere in this game when he could be. Again, they were getting ground down in the run game, but it was not because of George Karlaftis. It was up the middle of the defense, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So,
and let's be real. Trent McDuffie had 2 plays where a guy got away with him and he had to go make plays. He did for the most part. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, look at what they were doing in the run game with him. Look at him coming in underneath tackles and tight ends, just getting him underneath and getting involved in the run game, mostly because he was having a trigger on the run game. The reason he got beat some of these times, because he's having to worry about coming down to the run game, because their linebackers, they're injured. They got 2 guys on the bench that coming off the play that don't play a ton.
Yeah. And they were blitzing McDuffie relentlessly. He must have been exhausted by the end of this game. And I will give him credit. Yes, he got taken advantage of in one part on that long drag. Fine. He was all over the place. He got he ended up with a QB hit. I actually had it as 3 hits on the quarterback, which in the end is what you need to do. McDuffie played well. Snead, I don't know what the hell happened to him. Snead went out the window. He got in his head and he took the challenge. Cortland Sutton is a physical guy. You guys have heard me say, I think Cortland Sutton, before the injury, had the ability to be the best receiver in this conference once Tyreek got traded, right? But I'm sorry, in this division, not the conference. But he showed what he's capable of today, and Snead took the bait, and he got bit for it. Snead lost that battle today, and that is rare for me to say. But the truth is the truth, and sometimes that's going to happen. Trent McDuffie outplayed it. I think Amenahue showed up again, not just in the play. He got he ended up with a half sack, right? I think that's all it was. but he was all over the place. He did have the one penalty for jumping off sides, but I don't really care. He was holding his own. He was setting the edge. He was attacking the guards. Karlaftis was great inside, rushing against guards. So I think overall we're okay on the defensive front. It's not going to be a problem.
And Mike Dana with another sack. What is that? Bring his season total to 7? He's got like 6 or 7. I think he's got like 5 or 6 sacks on the season. I'm positive he does.
I gotta go look.
Pull up his stats. I'll do it. You do it. Yeah, okay. They're getting sacks from everywhere. Like Mike Dana's playing out of his mind. Karlaftis with 2.5 today, and most of it is because Chris Jones is getting double teamed like there's no tomorrow, guys. He's being the focal point. So if the reason you're like, why is Chris Jones not doing much? Well, because he is the focal point of the offensive line. They do not want him wrecking it.
He was triple teamed at least 4 times today.
Yes, absolutely.
And I counted them out. Like they were taking him away. In fact, he was shifting out to the edge a couple of times, which I actually think was fairly effective. I'm just not sure if it was planned, because it looked like there was a couple of games that were played, or at least somebody lost their lane. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it made me a little nervous. But I think that is just an effort to get him loose, to get him singled up.
It's what got Leo Chanel that sack. Chris Jones it got Leo Chanel the sack. He didn't really do anything. He pushed the tackle out of the way, and then both the guard and tackle went after Chris Jones, and Leo Chanel was like, "Thank you. I'll take the sack. You guys don't want my attention? Fine. Thank you."
Right? I will take it and run. Thank you very much. I'm trying to look for Dan
sacks going into the game, so he got another one today. So he had 6 sacks he had 5.5 going into the game. So he's got 6.5.
Mike Dana. See, good for Mike. The contract year.
Bro. Are you though? Are you though? I don't know. Have to pay Mike Dana.
If he keeps that up and gets to 9.5 or 10, yeah, you're gonna.
Someone else is paying him. That's the difference. Yeah. Someone else is paying him more than the Chiefs are. They don't have money to afford it. So I love you, Mike Dana. I'm happy for you this season. But if this is your last season in Kansas City, honestly, good for you getting that big old payday, my guy. Congratulations. That's all I can say. Fantastic.
Just don't go to Denver with Coburn, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, please don't do that.
You get to choose, Mike. No team can win with 5 turnovers, period. You are absolutely right, Tom.
No, exactly.
We could not agree with you more, and thank you for your super chat very much. Why are we using Hardman so much? It's because they don't have a number one. It's because they're waiting for somebody to spark this room into performing, and they don't know how to do it.
That's exactly why we're seeing so many wide receivers. They're like, someone step up, and no one's doing it except for Rashee Rice, who ended up that drop today cost them some huge yards. It's behind him, I know, but that's a catch you gotta have, my friend. That is a catch you have to have. There is nobody in earshot of you that you can't outrun.
Well, Leon's tying into tactics question too. Why do you think it was the worst game for Hardman or Sky? Who do you think performed poorly? Honestly, I'd say it's a toss-up.
Yeah. You could even put MVS in there. That fumble is cost. All of them are costly. Like, they're all costly in a game like this. True. But
I'll tell you this though, MVS was getting mugged all damn day.
He was. Again, Sky Moore won on the route. Like, he won on the route. Like, we're talking about him dropping the football, and he won on the route. He also beat Patrick Surtain multiple times, and Mahomes got to him late. I mean, this is the problem that we're facing here, is that, yes, Sky Moore had a bad drop in the end zone. And I have to defend him in this situation because he was open many, many times. Does that excuse his drop in the red zone, in the end zone? No. But we can't just keep piling on people, okay? Give them credit for when it's due and take away from what it is, okay? He dropped the football in the end zone, yes. But he was there, open, multiple times. Hardman, he took credit for it. He's like, yeah, that one on me, obviously. What else are you going to say in the situation? But he got asked the question directly. He could have avoided it. He could have not answered it. He didn't. He took it on. Yeah, that's on me. Okay? It sucks. It sucks. Agreed. What happened today. It's bad.
Agreed.
No one, every single one of them feels the same way. But we are not, I am not just going to pile on everybody. The Sky Moore open multiple times. Yes, the drop it hurts. It hurts. Okay. But let's remember, they're people. They are people. At the end of the day, make mistakes, but we have to be able to look at it in two grains, two different glasses. Okay. Sucks. It hurts. And we all say hurtful things. I still think there's a problem at wide receiver.
Yep.
There is.
Well, and I'll tell you this too. What we're seeing right now is a problem for Rashee Rice. We didn't see in college. The drops were not an issue. I saw like one in the film that I watched. I don't recall how you came away on drops on him. But it was not a concern. So I think he will work through it.
That's the thing was it was more concentration than technique based. And that's what it is. Every drop that we've seen, it's him looking to other places first. It's not him looking the ball in. It's looking else places because he can make the really hard stuff. He makes it look easy, effortless. He makes that stuff look like he was doing it in high school, like easy. It's different in the NFL when play is that much faster, right? Play is that much faster. I got to make a big play here because we're down against the Denver Broncos and we don't want to lose. I need to make this play and go score a touchdown. You got to slow down your brain process. And that's what happened there. That's a basic, you need to slow down. And he couldn't. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes your mind just races, right? You know, it is what it is. Tatum, I completely agree with you. Abandoning the run and not coming back to when it's working. And I know 5 yards carry is boring, right? But it gets you first downs. It keeps you out of third and long. It does its job. And that's what I think. They just get lulled to sleep. And there's another comment that I'm going to tie into you, buddy. And I appreciate you saying this one because you're not alone. I'm going to skip down to it because Callie because Callie's with you. And you guys together, I think, make the biggest point is, yes, you abandon it and the play action would have worked, Tatum. You're absolutely right. But it also comes down to this. You abandon it because you don't have the guy holding you to the fire. And it's not just EB that they miss. It's what EB does. EB holds guys accountable, and he challenges you to be a man and go beat somebody. That's what EB does, and that's why the rest of the league doesn't like him, and he had to go work with Ron Rivera, who is a disciple of Andy, and I personally feel that it was a favor to Andy, and that's how it happened, because EB wasn't ever getting a head coach job as long as he worked for Andy Reid. That's just the way the league felt. He had to move away in order to do that.
Real quick side note. You guys see how Sam Howell played today against the Eagles again? You want to know who made that happen? You want to know who made that happen? That's Eric Bieniemy, guys.
Yep.
And yes, I don't think that Matt Nagy is like some guy who doesn't just hold people accountable, let them do whatever they want to. No, I don't think that that's the case. And that him being the offensive coordinator is the reason the offense is not doing well. But you're absolutely right, Ryan. EB challenges his players every single game, every damn game. Every one of them. I loved that on the sidelines. And yeah, I was hopeful that he would get a head coaching job because I like to see that kind of man get rewarded for what he does to NFL players. And every single every player that he has ever coached say the same thing. I love that guy. I love that guy.
Everyone.
And we heard early in the offseason or early in the training camp process that players were crying and complaining about the way Eric Bieniemy runs it. Guess who's not crying and complaining anymore? The Commanders team.
Yeah.
Want to know why? Yeah. Because they're starting to see the fruits of their labor. Like that kind of stuff matters. So,
and for the record, I still don't think Howell's very good, but EB has turned him into a playmaking dude. I don't know if it's sustainable, but I agree with you completely. I don't think Sam Howell is that quarterback that you saw today. If it isn't for EB,
he's not. And that's the thing. He's not. He's not.
Okay, so we do agree. I was like, oh, don't drink all the Kool-Aid, bro. Okay. I was a little
quick yeah, no. Oh. Absolutely not. I'm not a Sam
Tatum
Howell
Callie, right? Tatum, Callie, I appreciate you guys hooking up for that. That was a nice combination. Kip, thank you for the support. Appreciate you, brother. Chiefs Kingdom rules. Yes, it's a great fan base because we can have real discussions without getting super, super crazy. And thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy our stuff too. I really think that Andy or Nagy to figure out the play calling in the red zone. Why do we change the play calling when we get in the red zone? It's because the middle of the field is all about pressing the pass for depth. When you run out of depth, you have to change not only the way that you drop back, but the way that you attack in those route combinations. You can't run dagger with a top over the ding and a dig coming underneath it because you don't have the room to do it. And that takes away some of their core concepts that they run in the middle of the field. And so it comes down to willpower. It comes down to aggression and physicality. And this is a finesse team. We can make no bones about it. Everyone who's ever played for Andy Reid is a finesse dude, or he was here for one season and out the door. That's just the way that it is. They are not a power team, and they never, ever will be.
Orlando Brown brought something. Like, he wasn't a very good tackle, and he hasn't been a very good tackle to this year at all. But he brought some physicality to the offensive line.
And he's gone.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, you can run power plays, but you're not a power team. You know what I mean?
I don't understand one thing about this whole interior thing. They're physical dudes. What's going on there? Okay. I have questions.
I have theories. Do you want to hear them? Or should we put the tinfoil on?
Let's put the tinfoil hat on.
Reps are reduced every single CBA in the last 30 years, right? So now you're to the point where you have a limited number of snaps. You have a certain number of things that you want to do because it's Andy Reid's West Coast offense, and you got to push the ball down the field because that's what it's built on. So when it comes back to and when we get in short yardage, we have to do this. They don't have the time to actually practice it. They don't come off and hit the ball. You can't have contact in practice hardly at all anymore. And I think it just softens every team who doesn't carve out a niche to go do it every single day. Ask Jason Kelce, because he talks about the physicality that the Eagles put into doing the quarterback sneak and every other run that they run. They practice it, and I don't think the Chiefs put enough into it.
I don't think you're wrong. They don't care enough about it. Like, they don't. And that's one thing I'll say about the Eagles is that they work on their short yardage concepts better than any team in the NFL. Any single one of them. Because they put the work in. I don't feel like the Chiefs care. And we see that with swing passes to Jerick McKinnon behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and short, or little touch passes to Kadarius Toney, who runs into a defender, just runs into him, doesn't even move.
I didn't think you'd be there.
Runs right into him. I on the paper, you're not there. So why would I expect you to be there? Oh, because things don't get blocked up every time. And if you practice it enough, you might see that.
Right. And it's a time crunch. It's a time management issue, because their expectation is that they're never going to be in 3rd and short. That they're either going to make it on 2nd and medium, or they're going to have 3rd and medium because they've proven complete.
I'm not sold on that myself, but that's stretching it a bit thin for me personally. I can't think that they're just that arrogant that they'll never get in 3rd and short when it happens every single year. And you had to be trotting out Blake Bell on 3rd and shorts and Noah Gray on 3rd and shorts to try to get first downs last year. I just don't believe they're that arrogant.
Kurt, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to this one. I know we covered this before, but
we are
absolutely right.
We're having a time, guys.
we're still with you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting hung up on too many topics. Was it me, or did the O-line have an especially bad day? Seems like they saw a lot of standing around, watching people get tackled or miss downfield blocks. Yeah, there was just a lack of on the last one where Mahomes actually ran into Donovan Smith, who didn't have the gumption to get out of the way, knowing that his quarterback's scrambling. Like, that was just like, it was clowns and capers to me. There was just something missing. And I can't say that I let the interior 3 off the hook either, because Joe Tooney missed a couple of blocks today that I was not happy with.
Everyone didn't show up on the offense. Like, it didn't. There was not one person that played a great game.
Yeah,
there wasn't one. There really wasn't. That's again another thing. Everyone was off on the offensive side of the game. And when you have games like that, there's always hunger growing, especially in a team that you've beaten 16 straight times that you can't match. When they sense that blood in the water, they go after it. They went after it today, and the Denver Broncos swarmed. They swarmed the Kansas City Chiefs. They saw and they smelled that blood in the water, and they kept coming after them, and they didn't do anything to keep them off of them. The defense tried everything. They stood up to just about everything, but when you're continuously giving over short yardage fields with turnovers and inopportune things like that, you're going to give up touchdowns. You're going to. They did what they could with if they would have not had short yardage the entire game, you probably see 14 points scored. Probably. The Denver Broncos maybe string together 2 touchdown drives. They had 3 because they were gifted it in the end zone essentially. So
yeah. I'm with you. Thank you, Oregon. And Pressa, you fed right into Oregon here too. The tackles didn't have fight or hustle when the plays broke down. In particular, I felt like Taylor did better than Smith, but I agree with you. Once they were beaten, it didn't feel like they were tracking the play so that Patrick had somewhere to run to. There were several times where Patrick had to scramble not only around the defenders, but around his own tackles. And it defeats the purpose at that point.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few you good Denver Broncos fans in here. Appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, you guys won. They took advantage of whatever the Chiefs did. So, congratulations, you guys. You got the win. Happy for you. But also 16-1.
Clap it back. Hey, I hope that there's a rivalry. I hope that it gets back to where it was because we can all agree that we hate the Raiders.
Sports is better when there's rivalry. It just is. That's a fact. Jake,
appreciate you. Just explain to me how Denver, who gave up a near historic number of touchdowns to Miami, kept us shut out of the end zone. Casey didn't come close to a touchdown. And we play that team next week. Yeah, agreed. You're absolutely right. I will say this, that a kick in the teeth like the Broncos got from those Dolphins can sometimes turn you around. So, every week is an evolution based on the last previous weeks, right?
Yeah, you guys, I know that there are some times some of you were playing high school football and y'all got just mollywopped by somebody. It happens. Everyone gets mollywopped at some point in their life. And when it happens in the NFL, everyone kind of, kind of sits up a little bit. Everyone kind of sits up a little bit. Defense has been much better since then. It just has. They've been better since then. Yeah. They're not as good as they played today. And the Chiefs made them look. They aren't.
Yeah, they overachieved today. Let's be real.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Kurt. Everyone and my mom knew that Shovel Pass was coming. And that's the sad part is that they feel that that's their crux to go to. And they don't need to. Mike Burton played more plays today for the Denver Broncos than he played for the Chiefs last year.
Coincidence?
That's a problem.
Coincidence?
No. If you're looking for some gear, grab the MVP logo, grab the RGR stuff. You can get it all in our store right down here below. And there's also a link in this description so you can jump right to it. The shelf actually shows you some of the cool stuff too. I have a couple of new things that are coming out. I was saving them for the Christmas, but I think I'm just going to put them out early because I'm pissed off and we might as well start talking trash to everybody else. So I'm here every day. That's coming every single day. The attitude of Patrick is going to be there. And if you would like and subscribe to the channel, we would very much appreciate it. Jake, thank you for your support earlier on that super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. We're going to get to a couple more here as we get up here. Another Jarrell. See, now that even sounds even more like Superman's dad to me. So I'm going to go with that one. What are the chances that Andy, the mastermind Reed, is playing chess and let them lose so they can get to the next level to win the Super Bowl?
There's a 0% chance that's happening.
I think Andy wants to win,
0.
and I know Mahomes wants to win every damn week. I don't think that they're voluntarily letting anybody win.
Yeah, no.
But I like where your head's at, and I want to hope that there's a grand design.
There's no week in the NFL that the teams are like, let's just let the other team win. It's been, especially not against your division rival that you've got 16 straight gone. They didn't come into this game saying, yeah, let's just get
and let's be real. This was a game they were supposed to win, and that was going to help them secure first round bye and staying home for wild card weekend. They don't want to give that up. That's a day off for those guys, and they need it. Bump, thank you for the support, buddy. Sky's a good kid, but at some point, he's bad at football.
So I'm going to go ahead and take offense to that. I'll take offense to that comment. He's in the NFL, guys. So we say that sometimes we say these players are bad. They're in the NFL. Sky Moore was second round draft pick. That's not by mistake. Okay. He was getting selected in the second round. If it wasn't Chiefs, somebody would have done it. Okay. Yep. So yeah, he's not having himself as good of a season as we all wanted him to. And maybe he's not a fit for what Patrick Mahomes is looking for. Because right now it doesn't feel like it. He's not bad at football. He's not made for what they're looking for in this offense. And he had a bad day, but he got open.
I'll put it this way for you, because this was put to me a while ago. And for me in particular, it rings home because I played in my football league and my wrestling league. I played against 4 guys that ended up being starters in the NFL, right? In various sports, whether it was wrestling, track, or football when I played, right? And even then, they were not superstars, right? But I hung out with one of them maybe 10 years after high school. He had been out of the league for a couple of seasons, and he looked at me and he's like, I am nowhere near as good as the guys that start in the league, and I'm better than any other player you've ever seen on a field in person. And that's the thing. Like, everybody you played in high school, the best dude you ever saw can't play in the NFL. By odds, it is very rare that you ever saw a talent like that. Yeah. That's how good people have to be. And so we tend to be a little bit more lenient on the evolution of players and give them a little bit of a break, because everybody's good at this level. Everyone. Yeah. And so I think there's still room to get there. And so Bumpa, while I understand your frustration, and he does seem like a good kid, I do think there's room for him to improve, but I won't say that he's bad yet. I think that there's opportunity there, and hopefully he can respond. Some guys are just late bloomers. And honestly, let's be real. Central Michigan is not the NFL. Maybe he's got a bigger leap than even SMU did for Rashee Rice. I don't know. We're going to find out. Michael, hope you're doing well, buddy. 87-15, we're at the World Series. Flu hangover. No, I don't think it's hangover. I don't think they'd be that irresponsible. Flu, yes, possibly. The broadcast, I don't treat that as law that they got it from the kids or whatever, but whatever. Putting yourself in a room with other people, yeah, it could have been. I doubt it was hangover, though. I don't think that those 2 guys in particular would take that risk. Just my thought.
You guys heard my opinion.
Knicks fan, they missed early first down trying to get that TD. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes down to, is like it's 4th down and you're going for it. Just reset the downs, get another set, and then worry about getting in the end zone. You had time, and I know that everybody's in a rush, and I know that you get the coverage that you want, and Mahomes wants to go downtown because he singled up on Sky. And Pat wasn't wrong. Sky won that route.
Yep.
It's a trade-off, and it's a tough one.
It sucks to look back on it. Like that's the thing, is that, Patrick, everyone, they're going to look back on this and what could I have done better? Obviously there's some obvious things that these players could have done better, but how could they have prepared better? And I think that there's a comment made about how Patrick responded in the press conference about how there's if someone asked if there's going to be like a domino effect after this game, and Patrick said that there won't be. That's the kind of mentality that you have to have now. Like, you have to snuff this out. I would have assumed that last year they would have learned their lesson against the Colts. Apparently they weren't. But again, it's tough to win in this league. It's tough to go 7-1 in this league. And when you do nothing but beat down a team for 16 games, eventually they've had enough. Eventually they had enough. And Denver Broncos had enough. And the Chiefs weren't having it. They weren't ready to raise their level to the level of the Denver Broncos today. And that's what we saw.
And I think this is a phenomenon due to the Patriots when they were on their dynasty, right? Everyone feels like the difference between last place in the NFL and first place in the NFL is like this. It's really like this.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat anybody any given day if you screw up enough. Get out of your game plan enough, and the worst team in the league will beat you. That's just the way that it is, because talent is talent is talent. And that's again why we give the players a little bit more room to roam there in terms of their evolution. Cody, thank you, buddy. Guys, we're going to speed through. Last call for super chats. If you have one, we will answer it for sure, and we'll get this done. How do we performance on Mahomes hitching in plays? Again, more open multiple times than first interception was converted. Disappointing all day. How do we grade the performance on Mahomes? This comes back to a lack of confidence in who you're throwing to. I mean, bottom line, Dan, am I missing something?
No, it's him looking and not seeing exactly what he's expecting. The exact thing that he's expecting, he doesn't see it, so he hitches. So if a play is designed to go one way and he doesn't see exactly what he wants, it's a hitch. It's not a go-through read. Patrick is making decisions before the ball is snapped that he's going to throw the ball here. Okay. Sometimes, most of the time, actually, that works out really well. Right now, it's not working out well because teams are sitting on first reads and they're forcing little bit of differences in what he's expecting. You move a receiver off a route based off a little bit of physicality, that's a hitch. You get in a receiver's way, reroute him that way, that's a hitch. If anything is going wrong just a little bit, Mahomes is hitching, and that's one of the problems. He's not going through, like against the Chargers, he never hitched once. And you want to know what? He was still getting through his reads. He was going boom, 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 boom. He was going through his reads. He was predetermining too many throws in this football game, and he was not getting through his reads. That tells me he didn't want to have to mentally make those decisions, which he's sick. I totally understand that, but that's what it tells me, that he was not mentally prepared to play this football game because he was sick. And a lot of the problems with the hitches and stuff falls on him for not being prepared because he's sick to throw the football and to go through his reads, to make mental decisions.
And I'll tell you, and Patrick, and certainly Brittany, if you're watching this, don't take this the wrong way, but Patrick's spoiled because he has Travis Kelce, where he doesn't have to think, because whatever he thinks is what Travis thinks, and it's instant, and it doesn't have to be checked, and you just go with your gut. Nobody else has that connection with Patrick Mahomes. So there's always a drop-off, and I think that's what we're seeing here is like he was closer with Tyree to what he has with Kelce than anybody else ever has been, and there's just no one there. It's not there yet. Yeah. And like you said, if he doesn't see what he's expecting, he has to slow down. And as he's probably being coached to slow down and let the young guys figure it out and make an adjustment and then go from there. Unfortunately, just wasting time in the pocket and getting him hit.
For sure. And we're seeing a couple more Broncos fans coming here, you guys. We've given them a lot of credit. Okay. We have. So we're not making excuses for what the Chiefs did. We're telling you what's going on. At least we're trying to say what we think is going on. And then after that, the Broncos capitalized on everything that happened. Like they just did. They won that game. And as much as it hurts for a lot of Chiefs fans, give them a lot of credit because they took advantage of what the Chiefs didn't want to do, and they didn't want to mentally be in this football game. That's what happens. You lose those games.
Yeah, and kudos to the Broncos and to the Broncos fans that are being normal and respectful. Sure. There's always going to be trolls. We appreciate you guys that show up that aren't. So thank you.
Always
Tom, the entire roster better do some deep digging inside and finding the desire to not let this lead to another one. And that's absolutely it. And sometimes that's what teams need. The roster needs to hear, hey, we are human. Even if we have Pat, we can get beat any given day. And that goes a long way towards shoring them up. Is the game possibly passing Andy by?
I don't think so.
I ask any Philly fan. Andy's done the same crap forever. It's just more infuriating because the older he gets, the more I think he'll learn the lesson, and I'm just wrong.
Yeah, he's always been one of the most innovative coaches. Like he's always bringing stuff from college into the game. It's not passing him by. I think we sometimes see stubbornness win out over understanding of, hey, we can just do this here. Like we don't have to get cute. Like you guys have the best quarterback in football, and I think he can make some plays if you just kind of let him do it. But also running the ball every now and then in short yardage situations. This is not, we're not over. We don't have to overthink some of this stuff, and that gets in the way sometimes.
Tactics. Thank you for bringing it back to the positive, because you're right. This time last year, we were all hearing about how bad Bucker was, and he's got to get out of here. Well, he's not injured now, and he's solid as a rock. He actually had a little bit of issue this week, and yet he looked fine on that 56er. From what I heard, he hit a 62 before the game. So you're absolutely right. He's the man.
Harrison Bucker, guys. Right now, he's the best kicker in football. Right now, he is. He is the best kicker in football. He is. Hats off. Harrison Bucker, who's done nothing but be fantastic this season. And once again,
so sorry you had to work today, Harrison.
Yeah, right. I'll say it for all of those that weren't listening last year. I don't care about missed extra points, y'all. What we're seeing right now is what I care about.
Oh, let's not dig that up again. Oh, here we go. Quick question from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Trade for Calvin Ridley or Chris Olave? Would you do either?
You're not getting either of those players. But sure, I would. You're not getting either of them.
They could both fit in the offense. Obviously, Olave is a cornerstone. And I agree. I don't think they'll move on from either of them. Alan, thank you, buddy. Let's talk about George Karlaftis, please. We did, and I'm sorry it took so long to get to your super chat. Thank you for the support.
Yeah.
George really showed, and it was the awareness. And I hate to tell you, I can't say that he came up with that chop on his own because he learned that from Tamba Hali. It looked like Tamba, like just the way that he had contact around the backside.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm going to come full swing at that point. Like
Absolutely.
That pays off. That was nice to see. Cody, thank you, buddy. Ideal receiver order rest of season with or without trade. I mean, if everything's on the table, AJ Brown, Darius Toney, and Watson. I don't know.
What are you thinking?
if you want to be my real, if I was dreaming and I could just do what I wanted, the reality is that it's Watson, MVS, and whoever the hell shows up next.
I cannot see both Watson and MVS continue to get the majority of snaps. They're too similar. They're just too similar, okay? And you're not going to like the answer that I'm going to give you. You're just not. But yeah. It should be Rice, Toney, Moore. But the problem is they don't have X size. So the reality is that it's MVS, Rice, and Toney. That's what it should, and more. Sorry, excuse me, not Toney. Because apparently the Chiefs don't think he can stand up to the NFL because he's not playing. He's just not. Yeah. So it's those three. Allow them to get chemistry. Because again, I'm going to say it. I know he had the drop. Moore was open so much. He was there. And I know that this is a trope that's going to keep repeating. You guys can repeat me, make fun of me. I don't care. Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, and MVS are the three guys that you should be playing the most often to let them get comfortable. If not, if the Chiefs have a different plan, play three guys and let them get comfortable. Quit playing 6 wide receivers so much. I'm done with it. I'm done.
I'm with you. I mean, more reps for guys who earned it. Just keep feeding Rashee and see what else happens.
Whoever it's going to be.
Pretty disappointed with his drop today.
Yeah. Whoever it's going to be, let them get comfortable.
Wills, I'm hearing that the Chiefs are saving up their plays for later. I don't know who you're hearing that from, but that's pretty standard. And he has a tendency to put stuff in his back pocket and leave it there. The question is, you got to pull the trigger at some point. And if you can't get to the postseason, you can't save stuff for the postseason. So figure it out. That's the way it's got to go. What's your film breakdown going to be this week, Dan?
Oh man. I honestly right now, I couldn't even tell you. But I know we are going to talk about the miscues. We are going to talk about the things that went wrong and how you prevent this going forward. It's how can you prevent it going forward? I think it's tough.
Let's get serious. Let's break it down. Austin, so Andy Reid is too much of a player's coach. Is he too soft? I mean, there's a fine line. Like you want to allow dudes to have confidence in you and you to have it in them. That takes a special kind of relationship. And from what I understand, Andy is a player's coach and that he wants to see your personality, wants you to be you, but he also is demanding that you play correctly and you play well and you play up to your ability. And so I wouldn't say that he's too soft. I feel like he gets blinders on sometimes and that he has expectations of players to do X thing that I don't know that he's invested the time to get them there at this level. I particularly feel that Veach singles in on guys that have an aptitude for something. He sells it to Reid, but they don't continue to grow that because they feel it's a finished product. And so I see a lot of undeveloped idiosyncrasies with a lot of these receivers at this position in particular. Whereas on the other hand, I do feel like by doing the same thing at the cornerback position that she's been very successful at, Veach and his crew, C. Spagnuolo continues to grow and it's the difference between, do you want to make your weakness stronger so that you're a more even and even keel player? Or do you want to take your strength and make it absolutely impenetrable and make your strength stronger? That's the difference in philosophy I see.
Yeah. Like he runs the toughest training camp for a reason. Like he's not a soft coach by any stretch. It's just, I think that they think they can outthink everybody and that they can out finesse everybody. And that doesn't work in every football game.
Agreed. Dorian, thank you for the support, bud. Sky catching a lot of bullets when he's open Mahomes and forces it to a doubled Kelsey or he throws it deep and Jet and Rice open short for the first. And you have a good point. There's something going on there, which is funny because Sky spent the whole summer with Patrick.
Yeah.
And you'd think that would have worked some things out, but clearly there's something missing there. And we don't know what it is, but only time, reps, and targets will sort it out. So keep feeding him. Thank you, buddy. Wills, do you guys know this? Pat always wants receivers to come back to the ball. Never knows a QB doing that so much. That's exactly what he should be doing. And just because you're not hearing it on the broadcast doesn't mean it isn't happening. If you're playing zone and you're running a hitch, your job is to come back to the ball every single time on every single play on every single team, everywhere, unless your coach is just dogging you and not giving you the skills you need. Because when you're running into that zone, the guy's going to jump the route. You have to come back to it or the DB will beat you.
Yeah, and we've seen it too. Like when they're running, I've seen when MBS is running a deep curl, he always comes back to the football because it's against zone. He always does. And then you get a little bit of misguided. One time you don't do it, and guess what? You pay for it. Like this happened multiple times where guys weren't coming back to the football.
Happened today.
And it always
happened today when MBS catches the ball here instead of here. That's the difference.
It's funny,
and I'm old and fat. It's the difference between catching it here and catching it here. Because that is a catch for MVS.
It is. And when you don't, it always seems to be the play that you don't run to the football when you get targeted, right? Isn't that always how it works? You run back to the football, you don't get targeted. You don't, you do, and you're like, oh, that guy's too close to me. I'm not going to make this catch.
Row. Savage, I put you up here just because I think it's hilarious. They didn't have Swift today, and it was a huge factor. Is she on IR? No, she's on tour.
Heard. Yeah, I was about to say, I heard she's on tour, and that they're going to be making some stops in Europe on their tour, and that they're going to be joined by Travis Kelce during the bye week. That's what I've heard.
Hey, fun stuff. But in all seriousness, the only person that I think Taylor Swift affects is Travis, and maybe he does want to, puff up, show out for his girlfriend, whatever. That's fine. I don't think she has an effect on the outcome of ball games other than Travis and his concentration. But good comment, Savage. Why go long all the time on third and short? It's because they don't, like Dan said, they don't have their confidence in the short routes with their receivers to get open and make the catch. It's bottom line. And that's not even that's Patrick. Let's be real. They're either not designing the play correctly to have a short to intermediate route that just gets the first down, or Patrick's not throwing it. That's the only two options. Scott, thank you for your support.
Thanks, Scott.
I might have missed a comment below, but I'll go back and check it. Wait, no, I have one here. Let me add that. Okay, we'll get to you in 2 seconds. Thank you, Scott. Why was the first time all year that 15 looks downfield to 24?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They got the they wanted.
I can't really answer the question for you there. It's not like he hasn't been open downfield. I'll tell you what. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny how that works. How it's the first time we see a downfield throw to Sky Moore, and it's 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Maybe it says something about the connection between the two. Something's going on.
That's absolutely true. It's not all roses. Let's be real. And to you Broncos fans, I see some new ones in here.
Yeah.
Congrats on the win. Appreciate you being calm and non-trollish. And we have, if you just joined the show, we have been giving you props for playing a hard game and taking it to them. So
I give Sean Payton a lot of credit. You smell blood in the water. You got that team fired up. Like that's just what it is. You gave him a lot of credit. Did a great job.
No matter what happens on Tuesday, it's going in the direction that Sean needs to go to. And if it wasn't Andy Reid, Sean Payton's one of the top 5 coaches that I would trust to take over a franchise. So this is going to be a rivalry that will renew and grow solid again. I'm certain.
I like this. Nobody beats us 17 times in a row. Thank you, Box State. That's a good one. I like that.
That is pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw that up there. Scott, hands and consistency manner. Rice and Moore must be clutch to take the next step to win the playoffs. Yes, I mean, being a clutch guy is earned and it's through experience. Travis Kelce was not a clutch guy his first 3 seasons. Let's be real. But I agree with you. Hands and consistency definitely matter, and that's how you get to be a clutch guy.
Yeah, and we've talked about how consistency is important. Like before being clutch comes into play for a lot of these players, they have to develop that chemistry. Like you have, and consistency. You're not going to get any of that if you're consistently being shoved off the field. Let's be honest. Like it's just not working. So something's going on behind the scenes. Hopefully we figure out what ends up happening going forward. But if they're going to continue to throw out 7 receivers, 7 receivers, 3 running backs, 3 tight ends, and we're talking 13 different players consistently getting rotated in and out of football games, I don't believe that's a key to victory, as they think that they might believe that distributing the football like this is. I'm not entirely sold on that philosophy right now.
Depends who you're distributing it to. Bottom line.
That's true.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you. Sean, did FAU even see the field today? I don't remember seeing him out there. I saw him on 2 plays, and I thought he gave 2 good rushes. One of them was on a screen where he got kind of submarined.
He got under there and almost got the sack. He got underneath and still almost came out with the sack. So, yeah, there was effort for sure.
Yeah, exactly. The effort was there. I don't think that he's got the technique quite yet, but I do see the effort. I'll be interested to see how many snaps he totally got, though, Sean. Good point. Good job pointing that out. So I will follow up on that tomorrow. Alex, everybody celebrates when the Chiefs lose. It shows how good the Chiefs have been and will be. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the team to beat. Let's be real. If I check the standings right now, and we can do this all together because this is always fun, and you Broncos fans can enjoy this too. Let's take a look. Oh, wait, still the Chiefs are still at the very top. I'm sorry. Did I not share my screen? I'll have to do that.
Oh, you didn't. Yeah, oh, there goes my camera.
I kind of ruined the lead there. Sorry. Well, Dan's frozen, but he looks like he's in awe of this because it's true. Yes, despite today's win, the number 1 seed in the AFC is still your Kansas City Chiefs. So, yes, the sky is not falling. It's going to be all right. And yes, Denver did move up. Good for them. Denver Broncos got themselves. They were in 16th place coming into this ballgame. They got themselves up to 14th. They are out of the cellar, so good for them. Looks like we lost Dan momentarily. Hopefully he will just probably run out of battery or something. He'll be back here momentarily. See, there's his chair. He's right behind us. Not a problem.
You can tell your brother to contact me.
I mentioned it to him yesterday, so hopefully we'll get in touch here soon.
We're gonna put you in timeout, Orange Crush. Gotta do it.
Too much, huh? Okay.
Too much troll here.
Okay, see, friendly banter and enjoying your win I can deal with. Trolling, not so much. Box State, this is good. And I thought that was humorous. Dan did as well.
That was great. So fantastic.
Kudos to you. I'm glad I was able to go find that. I had to go dig. Breeze, thank you, buddy. At this point, let's get Ryan suited up to play fullback. I'm happy to do it. I can give you 2 plays a game because I am old and I am brittle. Let's be real. Once you get to my age, you don't want to get hit anymore. I don't either, but I'll lay a hit on somebody at least once. Maybe I can get Mike to train me up. Mike lives not far from me now, so maybe I can get old Burton to train me up, and I can go hit somebody once.
Like I'm at the gym now, like 5 times a week, but I'm still not even in hitting shape. Like it's not there,
bro,
guys.
I did that in my 30s too. That was a long time ago. Damn, it's not getting old. I'm just gonna tell you. Thanks, Breeze. And thank you, Tom. Are we seeing the Alex Smith dumbed down offense now with so much left unknown or trusted? Do these wide receivers even use the jugs machines? I mean, that's the big question. How much of that is dedicated to the basics? Andy has been known and reported to be getting away from the basics on a lot of aspects in certain years. Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't think it's dumbed down so much as it's not clean enough. There's too many options. There's too much maybes. It's like, I want you to attack this guy on a slant, get the inside, or else I'm going away from you. It's a simple read. There's too many option routes. There's too many maybes in this offense to me right now. I'd like to see it more simple.
Yeah, it's got to develop that chemistry. And for whatever reason, they have decided that 7, I'm gonna keep saying it, 7 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, and 3 running backs is how you develop chemistry with your offense. It's hurting them at this point.
Yeah, agreed. That is our last super chat. So thank you everyone for the support tonight. Thank you for all of your questions. Silverback, I'm just going to tell you, don't bother watching the game. Watch both highlights and you can be done. I don't think there's a lot to take away other than it was not well prepared for. So
this game is going to be burned as soon as they get done watching through. They're not going to go back to it after that. Like, it's going to get burned. It's going to get thrown out. They're going to take what they can, because again, there's not much you could learn from this football game except what not to do. Be very honest that this is this is legitimately a tutorial on how to lose a football game. The Chiefs in spades had it everywhere. Look, they did.
Yeah, this sucks, but they're on a plane now. They're out of DIA, so moving on. They'll watch the film tonight and they'll get out of here too. We will as well. But we do have Q&A tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. For those of you in Mountain Time, for all you Broncos fans, that's 6 p.m. our time. So I actually live by all of you folks.
Feel free to join us.
Come on in. It's a good time. If you want more information about the college game, yes, the Jayhawks did win. I have the top 15 pass rushers in college football mathematically figured out per my algorithms that went up on Thursday. You can go check that out on NFL33.com. Go subscribe. It's a couple bucks a month. You won't regret it, I guarantee you, especially for you Broncos fans, because I know you got to start thinking draft earlier than we do. So it's going to be fun. Hope you guys have a great night. Enjoy your Monday. What, Dan?
I don't know. I was going to say something, but
I couldn't resist.
It's just too funny. That was great.
Oh, I couldn't. Okay. That's it for us tonight. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow.